Hello, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alec Hall, and I'm a painter of animals. Two things have always been constant in my life. As far as I can remember, I've had an abiding love of animals and a very strong interest in art. Some of my greatest and most prized possessions when I was a young boy were my colored pencils, my Crayola crayons, and my watercolor brushes. And I would spend hours in my family home with my brothers and sisters or with friends painting, and just loved it. We lived in a small community about 20 miles south of Boston when I was growing up. So it was not a farm community, but we did have dogs and cats for pets, and I always had guinea pigs and rabbits and even a couple of ducks out in my backyard as I was growing up. So again, this tie to animals and the tie to art has been part of my life for as long as I can remember. When I went into high school, it was time for me to decide what I wanted to do with my life. And at that point, not having had a mentor in art, I decided that I would stay with the animal side of my passion and become a veterinarian. So once I finished high school, I enrolled in the veterinary school at Michigan State University. Spent 8 years there getting my veterinary degree and science degrees. And then from there I did some small animal practice, private practice, once I had my veterinary license. I did that for about 5 years, moved on, went back to the university, taught there for 5 years in the veterinary school, and then from there I went into research and was in research with a pharmaceutical company in Michigan for about 23 years. While I was in the research division, we owned an 80-acre farm in Allegan, Michigan. And on that farm we raised horses, burros, dairy goats, Angora goats, Rex rabbits, and llamas. So we had quite a menagerie at various times while we were there. And again, I was devoting my time not only to animals and research for my profession, but also as something that I just loved to do on my own at the farm. In about the early 90s, when wildlife art became a very popular genre, I started collecting wildlife art. And in doing so, I began to meet and interact with and become friends with the artists that were creating these wonderful paintings of wildlife. And in doing so, that stimulated me to want to start creating art on my own once again. So in 1995, I took my first oil painting class at the Kalamazoo Institute of Art in the evening. Did that for a couple of years, and then I was asked if I wanted to do an apprenticeship with a local artist, and I did that for 3 years. Again, still working full-time and doing the apprenticeship at nights with the artist. Once I retired from the veterinary career and became more of a professional artist, I was asked if I wanted to teach pastel again at the Kalamazoo Institute of Art, where I took my first painting class. And so I did that for 8 years and had a wonderful experience interacting with all kinds of artists, especially adults who are coming back to art as I did later in life. So pastel since then has been my medium of choice. As you can see from Jesse and the other paintings that I do, I am a realist, a representational artist. I love detail, and with pastel I feel I have complete control, and I can create the amount of detail that I want to in my paintings. The other thing I like about pastel is I can pick it up and put it down as my time allows me to do. I don't have to mix paints, I don't have to reorganize my paints. Everything is just ready to go anytime I need to or want to. The bad thing about pastels is the surface is always workable. Even when it's complete or done, it never hardens, it never cures, and therefore pastels always have to be framed under glass. However, the pigment that's used in pastel is the exact same pigment that oil painters use, watercolor painters, or acrylic painters use. So it has archival abilities just as any other medium would. And in fact, if you go to any major museum throughout the world, you'll find pastels that are 250, 275 years old, and they look just as vibrant as the day they were produced. So I stick with painting animals. That again is still my passion, still combining my passion for both art and animals together now as an artist. And Jessie was a horse that belonged to a good friend of mine back in Michigan. I had painted my own animals, my own horses, Angora goats, llamas, and just about any animal that strikes my fancy. So in wrap-up, again, I'd like to thank the Artscape Committee for putting on this great program and allowing the local artists to have visibility in downtown Hendersonville. And in particular, I'd like to thank my sponsor, Dark Horse Builders, for sponsoring my banner. And without that sponsorship, such things as Artscape could not exist. So thank you very much.
Hey folks, my name is Phil Wilmot. I'm the owner of Dark Horse Builders, a general contracting home builder from Dallas, Texas. My wife Julie and I moved here about 2.5 years ago and found a beautiful home out in Horseshoe near Hendersonville, and just fell in love with the place immediately. The people, the places, the downtown area in Hendersonville. It was just a great pick for us, and we've loved being here ever since the move. I got involved in art via my wife, because once we got here, she got back into some art, doing alcohol ink, and through that we got involved with Art Mob down in Hendersonville and developed a really nice circle of friends from within the art community, and it's been a blessing for both of us. And through that we've gotten involved in various activities and groups and so forth, and one being Artscape 2020, which I personally became involved with because I felt like I'd like to sponsor one of the artists who would be selected for that honor. And as a result, I was fortunate enough to be paired with Alec Hall, who had done a pastel horse portrait that I just fell in love with immediately. The work was stunning. It was photograph-like, and I was thrilled to death to be able to have Dark Horse Builders be connected with his work and help present that to the community through one of the 40 banners I believe we have hanging in Hendersonville. So that was a real thrill and an honor for me. As a builder, haven't done too much here yet, so we have a lot of free time, and the art community has given us a way to fill a lot of that, both with friends and activities. And the organizations and the community here is just incredible. I believe it's maybe the third or fourth largest art area in the country. I hope I didn't misspeak, but we're close to it anyway. So it's a lot of fun to see all the different artists' work and be a small part of that. As far as the building, I'm retired right now. Maybe we'll start something up here and get back into that. I've almost 20 years of it. A little bit tired, but then boredom will catch up with you. So perhaps one day you'll see a sign out there, and whether it's a new custom home or some remodeling, I don't know. But we look forward to our time here, and thank you for listening.